his way to the ring. He hails from Keystone City. He weighs 163 pounds. Jynx!
And on his way to the ring is one half of Pretty Arrogant, Jynx. And this tag team situation is really just exploding all over GCW. But it's singles action for Jynx tonight, looking very nonchalant, but he better be taking this bout and this opponent seriously. Jynx, who has had an attitude change over the last several months. Oh boy, he's got the mic.
I suck. That's good. Now, I know there was a big football game that went on today. I just want to congratulate all of you people from Normal. What, you guys aren't from Normal? Oh, you are the guys that lost the game. What was it, 44-14? Oh, that makes it better, a whole whopping 4 points. Congratulations, go do some math.
I don't know who you think you are, but let me tell you something. I know you're one half of the tag team called Pretty Arrogant, but this is my microphone, and when I'm out here, you don't insult the people that I'm entertaining, you feel me? I don't know if you realize where we are, but we're in Mount Vernon, Illinois. And although that the Rams of Mount Vernon did not win that football game today, they were 11-0. 11-0 before today, okay? And that's the first time that was in this school's history that they did something like that. So why don't you get your butt back in the ring and get ready for your opponent. And his opponent, he's from Paradise City, USA, weighing in at 195 pounds, the New Deal, Dan Walsh!
And there you see the New Deal, Dan Walsh, the opponent tonight for Jynx. And Jynx, you just heard him trying to audition for SportsCenter, I guess, coming out here giving us the football scores, but I don't think ESPN will be calling anytime soon. Meanwhile, the New Deal, Dan Walsh, who has been through everything you can think of. He's been overseas, he's been in Iraq, and he's back here in GCW. And I guarantee you, as good of an athlete as Jynx is, Dan Walsh has been through a lot tougher things than him in his life. But it should be a good bout nonetheless. Both of these men, former light heavyweight champions. Oh, great. I can't get a moment's peace as Cameron Cage, our esteemed heavyweight champion, is joining me back at the broadcast position whether I like it or not.
Somebody's got to carry you, Travis, and it might as well be the champ.
What are you going to do, run out there and beat someone up again? Is that what you're going to do?
If the need makes me feel so, yes.
You know, I'm supposed to be impartial and all, but I hope Chance Wesson kicks your butt. Jeez.
You're calling it right down the middle, Travis, right down the middle.
Well, meanwhile, Jynx, one half of Pretty Arrogant in the ring against the New Deal, Dan Walsh.
One of the best tag teams in the Midwest. Pretty Arrogant.
Well, they have been impressive in some of their wins, but I've got to say that much like you, they are a couple of opportunists. They will take any advantage, no matter how illegal or underhanded.
Well, they are knocking on opportunities door in that tag team tournament.
Well, meanwhile, tonight the opportunity is in singles action. Jynx looking to be outsized by Dan Walsh here. Walsh making fun of the gait of Jynx, I suppose you could say.
Well, I think Jynx won that dance off.
Well, the Soul Train this isn't. And we have a collar and elbow tie at the center of the ring now. A wrist lock by the New Deal. And Walsh now with some of that patented schoolyard offense of his. Takes him over again. You know, I've noticed this about Jynx and Stephen Kennedy both, that when they're wrestling you head up, they seem to be at a disadvantage. They always have to come from behind or double team or something like that to have an advantage on you. And we're seeing that right now against Dan Walsh.
Whatever it takes, Travis, whatever it takes.
Great, you're justifying breaking the rules. That's a great example of set for the kids out there. There's a heavyweight champion we can look up to in Cameron Cage. He said with tongue planted firmly in cheek as Jynx goes to the ropes and forces the break. One thing about Jynx and Kennedy both, they always seem to know where they're at in the ring. They always seem to know where those ropes are. And while some people may look at it as a cheap way out, nonetheless, you got to admit that it works.
They are playing within the rule book, which is something that Cameron Cage demonstrates nightly, and Pretty Arrogant is very good at doing.
So it's within the rule book to go out and distract someone during their match. That's on page 42, right?
Travis. It is an unwritten law. Never take your eyes off of your opponent. That's what Outcast did. That's why he lost tonight. And then if Dan Walsh does it here against Jynx, he'll lose tonight too.
Well, Jynx did force the break once again by going to the ropes. I guarantee you that next month, should you still be the heavyweight champion, that Outcast will not be taking his eyes off of you in that match. And, of course, fans, for tickets to that fine encounter, you can go to www.gatewaywrestling.com on the internet. Purchase your front row seats. It's going to be a doozy. Headlock now by the New Deal, Dan Walsh. Takes him over using the hip.
You know, I already took care of Outcast tonight. I got my eye here on Dan Walsh because, you know, everyone here is a contender. And Dan Walsh looks like he might get his shot sometime, and I'll have to take him out too.
Schoolboy by Walsh, count of 1-2, and that's all. You know, many times Jynx is quicker than his opponent, but I think this is a situation where Dan Walsh is just as quick as Jynx is. Jynx may not have the advantage here.
The rumor around the locker room is that Dan Walsh is very quick.
You know, I've heard a lot of rumors around the locker room about you. Oh, never mind. Jynx goes to the floor as Walsh just punts him into next week. Head first.
What page on the rule book is that on, huh?
Well, the railing is out there on the floor. It is, oh, brother, what a knee right to the head.
Kennedy better get out there and check up on that guy because I don't think Jynx is awake.
Well, part of Jynx's face may be splattered in the third row. I don't know. But he just obliterated. Oh! Well, there goes the advertising signs. Jynx and Dan Walsh are taking it to the streets of Mount Vernon.
Jynx is showing why he's a tough customer here in GCW and why he shouldn't be taken lightly. Look at him lay those forearm shots right to that little head of Dan Walsh.
Well, both of these men are tough. I got to give him that. Jynx pounding away from a headlock position on the floor. Referee Patrick Smalls trying to get control, but Jynx goes throat first into the railing. Walsh breaks the count.
There goes your American hero bending the rules. You don't see Jynx slamming anyone into the... Where are they going?
I don't know. Oh, my goodness. They are back in the bowels of the Mount Vernon YMCA, and heaven only knows what's going on back there, but it looks like Jynx got the worst end of it, whatever it was. My goodness, he is riding him like a pony. Jynx back in the ring now. And I wish I knew what happened to him back there. Walsh now with a whip. Spine buster and a beauty. Hooks a leg, count of 1, 2, and no. You got to give it to Dan Walsh after all that wild brawling, having the presence of mind to hook a leg on the pin attempt.
Dan Walsh should have been disqualified hours ago. He's been tossing Jynx around into the guardrail, beating him up in the back.
Well, I guess if the referee doesn't see what happened, and none of us saw it, you can't disqualify him.
Yeah, where's Big Bad Ben right now?
Well, Big Bad Ben, the chairman of the board, is attending to some business, some official business, I'm sure. I'm sure he'll see a tape of this match, as he will yours and your actions. You may have a fine coming your way, pal. uppercut forearm from Jynx. He's become very proficient with that over the last year. Reversal by Walsh now. Underneath, full Nelson.
Oh.
Full Nelson gutbuster. And Walsh firing up the faithful of Mount Vernon, Illinois. Walsh now brings it back to the middle of the ring. Senton. And then off the second rope, he calls that the mortar. Got just enough of him there. Goes for the cover. Count of 1, 2, and no.
I gotta hand it to Jynx right now. He's taking everything that this bum Dan Walsh is throwing at him, and he's kicking out left and right. Jynx, way to go, buddy. Keep it up.
Give the devil his due. He's taking a licking and keeping on ticking. But Dan Walsh is on the top rope. High in the air. Oh, he saw that trick coming. Blocked that boot. And
where is the rule book on that one?
Well, that was a shot, I think, to the lower abdomen. And Jynx in some pain.
And I think you need to get your glasses checked there, buddy.
Cover now by Walsh. Count of 1. Oh, come on. Jynx raking the eyes to get out of the pinfall. That's nowhere in the rule book.
Oh, and giving shots to the lower abdomen is?
The lower abdomen is legal. It's below the belt that you can't do. Jynx now with a rear chin lock. And now secures that head of the New Deal, Dan Walsh. He has come back from a tremendous amount of punishment. Both of these men former light heavyweight champions, so they know what it's like to take the punishment and keep fighting. Jynx now in the ears. Come on. Wrist lock now by the man out of Keystone City. Going for that ace crusher, but Walsh blocks him. And now, that modified back suplex. Count of 1, 2. He got him.
What was that?
The New Deal, Dan Walsh, with a tremendous victory here.
He was holding the tights on
the
that
winner
one.
of the match, Dan Walsh.
Big win for the New Deal, Dan Walsh, here in Mount Vernon.
Stupid, what type of facts are those? If you grew up with holes in your satin toes, you celebrate the minute you was having dope. I'm like, fuck critics, you can kiss my whole asshole. If you don't like my lyrics, you can press back.
Give it up one more time for Dan Walsh.
They'll play my hits, I don't give a shit. So